That gloom, a shadow spiller.
Hades 2 might be in early access, but it's chock full of enemies to beat, gods to meet, and secrets to seek out. If you're just jumping into the roguelike for the first time, there are several things you are going to want to know to make your runs more successful, things the game itself doesn't tell you. And if you're coming into the sequel from the first game, you can still benefit from this guide because there are plenty of additions to the Hades formula here. Let's break it down. You've probably heard of the quote-unquote romance options in Hades 2, and while that's not completely accurate, you can deepen your bonds with characters by giving them nectar. This sweet concoction is found in rooms marked by the nectar symbol, orange liquid in a round vessel. You can give them to any character before interacting with them normally, and this includes the Olympic gods. The first time you do this with any character, you'll receive their keepsake. These trinkets can be equipped at your display case before starting a run, and they all come with unique bonuses. For the main gods, these keepsakes increase the odds of encountering them during a run and enhancing their boons when you do. Speaking of gods, know that the game will pull just a few from the full pantheon per run. In other words, you'll only run into 3 or 4 unique gods each time. This is actually a good thing, because it lets you focus on certain builds without too many perks that simply don't synergize. If you prefer one god over another, consider equipping their aforementioned keepsake.
Hates themselves knew Kronos could be overthrown by his own kin.
When selecting your boons from the gods, you might notice that many fall into certain core categories, augmenting your attack, special, cast, sprint, and mana recovery. Once you choose a boon that slots into one of these, you very likely won't get a chance to replace it for some time. Again, this is actually to your benefit, since choosing a boon of the same type will replace the current one. Doing so will at least increase that boon's rarity. Eventually, you'll unlock duo boons, which combine the might of 2 gods into one bonus. If you have 2 boon slots taken up by 2 different gods, you'll increase your odds of these becoming available. They are very powerful, even worth focusing your whole build around. If you've chosen several boons from one god during a run, then you have a decent chance at being offered a legendary boon later in the game. We don't want to spoil the surprise of what these can do, but trust us, they are very powerful. Getting 2 boons in one room makes you pretty powerful too. Later in a run, you can see doors marked by 2 different god icons. In the following room, you can choose to receive a boon from one of them, which will be an insult to the other. That kicks off a combat encounter in which the spurned god will try to strike you down with their special attack. Survive, and you'll actually be able to get a boon from them too. Obviously, these double boon rooms can be quite dangerous, but there is a big reward alongside that risk. You'll quickly notice that some enemies in Hades 2 have a yellow health bar over top the regular red one. This is armor. While it's active, they'll take reduced damage and cannot be staggered by your attacks. The good news is that other effects such as freeze do still apply here. Those make it much easier to whittle down their armor bar and finally break through their defenses. If you get too caught up in attacking and want to dodge cancel, know that you cannot do that in this game. You can, however, cancel out of a standard attack by using your special. This is particularly useful for those of you who prefer the Moonstone Axe. It's slower, with attacks that require a wind-up. Since its special move is a guard, canceling into this when you need to defend will actually save you a good amount of damage. If you aren't happy with your choices in Hades 2, you can always refresh them with a Change of Fate, represented by a little dice. These can be used to change the symbol on a door, therefore changing the reward in the next room, or to re-roll your boon options when encountering a god. So if you don't like your options, make a change. Sometimes the results are quite an upgrade. To get Changes of Fate, you need to equip specific Arcana cards before a run. The Fates, the Seer, and the Champion all confer this item. Speaking of cards, Milenoe can only equip a limited amount, and this is governed by her grasp. That's represented by the green circle around her on the right side of the Arcana screen. What you might not realize is that you can actually tab over to that part of the screen and click on it. By spending Psyche, you can increase your grasp and equip more cards at once.
So that's it.
You should use every tool at your disposal to make it through the underworld's randomly generated rooms, and that includes environmental hazards. Attacking certain objects will actually work in your favor in each region. Erebus, for example, has trees that can be chopped down, damaging enemies as they hit the ground. Oceanus is full of water jets and explosive tanks. If you can catch enemies in your cast or round traps like this, you can really put the hurt on them. The rooms you conquer are also tied to certain timers back at the crossroads, such as Hecate's Cauldron or Charon's Chest. You can also plant seeds just past Odysseus' spot. The number over these objects indicates how many more rooms you need to clear before the brew, chest, or plant is ready. So when you see 0, that's actually a good thing. Go collect your items. Finally, if you need to pause and come back to a run later, you can do that. Just hit quit in the pause menu. Your progress is automatically saved, and the game will tell you how recently that happened. It's pretty frequent. If you need to take a break, it's totally cool. But now that this video is over, you're probably ready to get right back into playing the game some more. We'll leave you to it. Just remember that you can always find more tips, tricks, strategies, and all the other Hades 2 help you need on IGN.